people back from Team 4-Star. Antfish, Cliff,
Hey.
and MaskaoX. And we have some feedback from somebody right now, which is throwing me off. I don't know who that is.
Oh, we got feedback? What?
Is it me? I'm not hearing anything.
I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing any echo or anything.
Okay, I got it. That user error. I left the
Hey.
other tab open. Who
That'll
knows?
do it. That'll do it.
So, yes, Antfish, Cliff, MaskaoX with us. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. We'll start with you, Ant.
Hi there. I am Antfish. I was the showrunner, writer, director, and star of Final Fantasy VII Machinabridged, which just wrapped up last year in December. Man, what a crazy 5-6 years that was. Boy, oh boy. Yeah. I'm the voice of Barrett in there, as well as a bunch of other miscellaneous characters. I'm also for a bunch of other series for DBZA. I was Hercule, Dodoria, Captain Ginyu, Sauza, and Nikki from an Android 15. So like mostly Captain Ginyu, Dodoria, and Mr. Satan, but a bunch of other like miscellaneous characters from the movies as well. But now you can also rehear me as Dodoria in the new Hiffle series by Team 4-Star, which you can check out right now.
Hey, Cliff, you're up.
I'm Cliff. You probably know me as AinTunez, but nobody can pronounce it, so I'm just going by Cliff right now. And I did most of the music for this series. There was the Living Tombstone graciously lent us his talents for the title theme, but everything else was essentially me. And I do music for a bunch of other TFS projects, and I had voice roles in 2 little spots at one point, but nobody remembers those, so it doesn't matter. And I've been with FF7MA since before the beginning. Since the beginning. And it's been fun. It's been a wild ride.
And up.
No, well, it's that guy. I'm voicing the Goku. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Where's my muffin button? But no, I'm MaskaoX. I voice Goku and Gohan in Team 4-Star's Dragon Ball Z Abridged, as well as doing stuff for the Dragon shorts, as well as, for the longest time doing lots of like little editing bits and bobs for them. And on Machinabridged, I edited the darn thing. So like the intro graphics, various bits and pieces, making sure the blue boxes weren't around, and I do remember the voice. I did get one voice part, and that was, of course, Mr. Stabby.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stabby from season 2. What are you going to do, stab me?
Yay! He said the line.
Yeah, and of course some other bits and pieces, like the door monster. Do me next!
Do you mind?
I have to say my favorite voice in that whole show was definitely Barrett. Just that.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah,
it really helps that I was also the writer, so I was able to just, whatever I wanted to say, I just said it, and then if I wanted to improv,
I still think we should just, as a joke, release the Stamper version of the first episode.
You can hear this.
So fucking funny.
Yeah. I did find it.
I want to see it.
Yeah, same.
So maybe like the one, like a year after Machinabridged it ends, we'll just say, here's the uncut, like the best version we've got, or I can redux the graphics from episode 1.
I mean, good God. I mean, I was just cracking up the entire time. I mean, Antfish, you do a fantastic job, but good Lord, Stamper, he just
in another world.
Yeah, in another world.
Played Barrett.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he already did. In the pointy bits. That's where Curtis, who was him and Howard created it, but then Howard got too busy with school, and then Curtis was going through some things, so I just took over the whole project. And I as showrunner, and then Cliff and Lawrence, you were at the beginning, more in the beginning than I was. So you're helming the ship just as much. But no, Stamper was originally supposed to be Barrett, but unfortunately he was also doing, I think Sleepy Cabin was still going on, and he was doing like a bunch of other shit. So like it was really hard to get a hold of him. And then during the read-throughs with me and Curtis, I would always play Barrett, and I just kind of did a Stamper-esque impression, but kind of gave my own spin on it. And then at the end of it, I was just like, listen, Kurt, this is going to be a problem. I'm going to play Barrett, not Stamper, me. like trust me, it'll work.
That's
and
funny.
it did.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know someone else was supposed to play him.
Not a lot of people do know.
I don't think anybody really did.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
We've
not
mentioned it before. I mean,
it's
not some big secret or anything. It's just not something it's not a super important piece of information. But I think if we eventually release just a rough cut of that, I think people would love it.
Oh,
there was a clip I remember like years ago. I think it was for like Too Many Games 2014-15, where they had like a little 1 minute, like, here's an experimental of how this would work. And it was against the Guard Scorpion. And that's where Stamper was Barrett and Taka was Cloud, who back then his idea was, I'm just going to make Cloud sound like Fry. And
yeah, that's it. Because I remember showcasing that at an English convention, and that went down really well. So it was like a June 2014, wasn't it?
That sounds right.
Sounds about right, yeah.
2014 or 2015, one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember when I was watching, I think My Hero Academia. I'm like, I know this voice from somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm like,
this was before.
I know. I know. I watched it first with you guys, and then when I saw My Hero, I was like, I knew that voice. I was like, where's it from? And then the next season came out, and I was watching it. I just my reactions. I said it. I'm like, that's him. That's him.
Yeah.
Eventually, you could just be, hey, Midoriya, can you do me a solid?
Yeah, exactly. The timing with so many things happening with the series, while other things within, like, not the universe of the series, but the universe of the people involved in it, like, it just worked out so perfectly. Because, yeah, like you said, Justin was cast as Deku in My Hero Academia. I think, like,
just
after the first season. 3. Just before season 3, or I feel like it was after season 1.
It was like
I think it was. Oh, and actually, it was before. It was in that time where we were figuring out, like, before season 2. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And at that exact same time, Cloud was announced in Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah.
So like, just all of these things kind of just like coming in, it was like, holy shit. And then like literally the final episode reveals Sephiroth is now in Smash Brothers. So like the bookend of like all these things just worked out so perfectly.
It did. It really did.
It couldn't have been better.
The
remake was announced, I think, just a few days before we premiered the first episode.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. We actually had this other joke lined up where instead of waiting for 80 gigabytes to download of the HD remaster, the HD remaster would be grayed out, and we would click it a bunch of times to get the error message, and then we would move on. So we avoided shooting ourselves in the foot and dating ourselves with that. We just threw it together, but it's like, okay, cool. The gods are on our side.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then like when the final episode came out, or like the season before, yeah, like season 1 and 2 and 3, it was just straight up like you tried to download it, but it didn't work. And then, season 2, we didn't have that because I forgot to write in at the end of season 2 that you'd have to go back and save the game so you could reload it up. And so I just was like, what the fuck? Oh, we'll just do a Kingdom Hearts thing. Press start, skip replay, go. Like now season 3 starts. And then I reminded myself to do that. But with season 4, with the HD, you click on it, it's just like the joke is dead. We now have a release date. And then for the movie, because the game already came out like months before the actual end premiere of Machinabridged, we just had like the
plot ghosts.
The plot ghosts, that's right. The fanboy ghosts just come in and just take it and just be like, nope, it's gone. Now this is canon, right?
Yeah, it's all canon.
Yeah, it's all canon now.
I don't care.
It's all Sister Ray.
That's beautiful. So out of all the Final Fantasies, I guess why that one? It's definitely one of my favorites in many.
I think you might have just answered your own question there.
No,
exactly.
Everyone else would say it's your favorite, but also on a technical aspect,
My
it had
favorite
the
is 6, but yeah.
See, now I was going to mention, now it's in a good middle ground of from 6 backwards. It was all sprites, pixel arts, all that, and millions of things have already been done with that already, right? Like look at Newgrounds. Newgrounds was like built on sprite. Yeah, exactly. And then and then onward, you have like things like 7, 8, 9, and 10, which with 8, you have like idle animation of people being like, that would have just been a nightmare to edit. Same with 9, same with 10. Exactly, yeah. But with 7, it had that perfect middle ground of just being still. So like editing wise, everything would have just worked out. Plus, like you said, 7 is when you mention Final Fantasy to people, 7 is literally the one that everyone comes up with. The giant swords, the spiky hair. It's got like every archetype of like what an RPG or JRPG is and all that. So when someone sees that, they could be like, I remember that. Whereas if you show them 8, they may not be like, or 9. They may, it's not like, it's not within that zeitgeist. Like I ain't seeing Robot Chicken making jokes with Final Fantasy 9, Like,
and actually that makes sense. That was a good strategy move. I like 6, but that totally makes sense. That was definitely the right call. So I guess that kind of answered that question. And so as far as the Abridged series, sorry, my shoulder hurts a little bit here. As far as the Abridged series, like, what was your favorite parts, all of you, of like about it? Or, you know what I'm saying?
You want to go first, Lawrence?
Probably it's like, well, as many things happen which involved Taka at the time. It's like, hey Maskao, I got this cool plan. You want to do it? Yeah, I think you'd be really good at it. Like, believe me, it's gonna go places. It's absolutely great. But so from a technical point of view, it was certainly one of the most challenging things that I've done. But at the same time, when you pull off a really good instance of editing frippery, it's really good. Like, even from the first episode, the eco-friendly Peace Factory.
Yeah.
You take that just shot of like, what's wrong with this place? Yeah, you rotoscope it, you stop frame by frame to make the animations work. So that means it's seamless.
Yeah.
Those moments are really satisfying. But I suppose really it's like, probably like the end of season 1 where you have the mini game with the bike mini game. So where you're like, we just reconstructed that and it was like a car chase thing, before they send in the motorball, and it's just anything to do with the news. Those are always really good. But yeah,
corrupting.
The corrupting.
But I'd say probably my favorite episode is probably the one with Priscilla. Just the ending of like episode 3 of season 2, because it's just like the way Barrett said, "Oh no, Cloud, Tsunami's plan failed. We got what we wanted." And Ali Monty voiced Priscilla in that, and that was probably like a really good mix of like, you started to really get the feeling of like the adventures aren't going to always be heavy. There's like that moment where it's all surreal. So yeah, that's probably my favorite episode.
Yeah. What about you, Cliff?
I don't know about my favorite episode. My favorite moment, I don't remember which episode it's from. It's either 6 or 7. Basically, they're in Don Corneo's mansion, and he lets them go down the trap door, and everybody screams, and Aerith goes, "Wee!" That was my favorite moment, and Kira Buckland nailed it.
Oh yeah.
But overall, I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite moment because for me, it's my work is a little more spread out, more evenly throughout everything. And the first season was definitely the most intense music wise because we had to get all the basic ones down, the world map theme and the battle theme and all that jazz. And at that point, I really hadn't done any gigantic orchestral arrangements before, and that's what Final Fantasy needs. So it was an opportunity for me to jump in and get my feet wet in that. And so I don't know if that really counts as a favorite moment, but it's that first season was
looking back at it.
it was sequencing boot camp for me, so I liked that a lot.
It was rewarding, like kind of like Moscow was said with the editing, because I do some editing.
Yeah.
I do anime music videos, and when you see the final project, you get those goosebumps, and you watch your own stuff, and you love what you create. So I totally can relate to that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I was gonna say my favorite moment, but I probably should let Ant go.
Yeah.
That's all good. Oh man, it's really hard. I remember when we were doing the marathon stream, there were so many moments where it's like, I forgot that happened. I love that. And like just right. But yeah, no, like a lot of the interactions between Red and Barrett were really fun. I think if I were to pick one thing, it would probably be the running joke of Tank Ceratops and the vehicular swords.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one. The Tank Ceratops and the vehicular swords pilot.
Oh God, that was
just such a departure from what we've been doing. So it was just like, hey, Lawrence, you have this. Yeah, go nuts. I don't care. Just do it. So it was just, we had the sprites of all of the characters. Just make it as bad as possible. The joke itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
80s like Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah. The only thing missing was like one of them just going, "Oh, no problems tomorrow."
Yeah, no, that was, oh my God. I just, the conception of that kind of just started where like it was in season 2 when they went to Gungaga, and I was like, okay, there needs to be like some kind of transition, because when Cloud shows up to the blown up factory, it can't just be like, okay, I'm here. I wonder what's going on. And then you're at the factory. I wanted there to be like a kind of like little comedic transition before something serious actually does happen, which is Scarlet coming in being like, I'm looking for the huge materia, which will then lead into plots for the next season. And I was like, okay, so they'll just fight something. And I just looked at what was happening. I was like, is that a fucking Triceratops with arms with a goddamn like tank bottom? Holy shit. That's the coolest thing ever. So I was just like, all right, what's this dude's name? Heavy Tank. Fuck that. You're a Tank Ceratops, and you're a toy. You're a toy, and I'm gonna make it like you're a movie franchise. And then like from season 2 or season 3, it was revealed that Tank Ceratops comes back in like Dio's not round table, like battle arena. And so I was like, oh, he's being captured. Okay. So then what happens is they go there, they free him, and then he goes down, and then it's just revealed like, oh, they've had a television show this whole time, and that Shinra was producing it. And then I got Little V Mills, Rob from Psycho Stick, NKN Art to draw the art. So Little V did the instrumental. I called him up. I was like, yo, how much could this like, because I had an idea of how I wanted the theme to go in my head. And so like I did an acapella, he sent it back to me. Then I talked to Rob, and I was like, okay, Rob, would it be dope if you just did like the intro? Because here's what I had an idea for. And I gave him a scratch of that. And then we like workshop back and forth. And I had the final product, and then I put it in the series. And then NK and Art made the logo, because we were also talking like, okay, what can we do to like make this like really like 80s 90s cartoon, like extreme dinosaurs pretty much. And then me and Lawrence workshopped some ideas for a lot of explosions. Yeah, a lot of explosions, a lot of like different dinosaur names. And I talked to a paleontologist friend of mine who does very realistic art for dinosaurs at the Royal Ontario Museum, and also the host of Animal Logic, which you should check out on YouTube. I was like, give me some dinosaur names and like just some vehicles. And so she came up with like a Leopleurodon, like Don being like the surname for a lot of different dinosaurs. And I was like, what's a good Gondolodon? That's like the sickest name. Velocicopter.
Velocicopter was my one.
Velocicopter's real dope. They're also a band, apparently. Check them out on Bandcamp.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, it's a good ass name. It was Tank Ceratops, Velocicopter, Tractordactyl, which we put a P. Yeah, Tractordactyl kills me. Yeah, because it's just like a tractor pterodactyl, but it's like Americana bikers from like the 50s. And then, but every time the pilot because I just made everyone kind of sound like everybody's talking like this, except for Tractordactyl, who's just a pterodactyl scream, and that was Lyle Wrath, because like I knew he sang metal too, so I was like, could you do like a pterodactyl scream? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, you killed it. And every time I listened to that, because it's like, thank you, you're such a good friend, and then it just cuts to like the Tank Seraphone, and like that kills me every time. But oh my god, no, Tank Ceratops and the Vehicular Swords is probably, if I could end the series at that point, I'd be happy.
Oh, that's great.
What about you, River?
My favorite probably moment, or even probably favorite moment, was like episode 10, the ending, when Cloud went off on Tifa.
Yeah.
And like Barrett, even at end credits, Barrett's like, God damn, what just happened? Like,
I know, it was like even more like, you know, Red was just pause. Red goes, holy shit!
Yeah, exactly.
Because he didn't. I don't think he said a swear word up until that point when we introduced him.
Yeah, that was the first time he did. And the story behind that, really, it was just like
it was necessity. It needed to happen.
It was a lampshade effect, really, because we openly admit when we look back through season 1, Ant and I, like when we were just like talking before, we would just go, "Ooh, you were really hard on Tifa." At the time, we were just like, "Yeah, we're just gonna stick it to Tifa." In fact, I remember we did a promo with the DBZA. And there was a bit with Nappa's office, which had like a thing with like tissues, like a pile of tissues with the salty tears of Tifa fans.
Yeah.
We were going hard on that, but then we realized, we're going a little bit too harsh on that. So we need to kind of give Tifa, Cloud needs to fight back. And then season 2 it starts to mellow out. So yeah.
Yeah, we were really on the wagon of Tifa is the hard-ass friend who will swear and say horrible, mean things to Cloud, but really she loves him and all that. And so we were like, all right, I mean, we were trying to find those justifications of like, no, this is totally okay that they're able to do that. And then like as we kind of went on, and then we kind of started to see more explanations as to why. That we were like, okay, you know what, you're right. And then
there's a difference between being a hard ass friend and just insulting them for no reason.
It's being hard ass, pretty much.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, and then when the remake came out and they showed Tifa, I was like, holy shit, that's such a good like description of Tifa. And I was like, fuck, I was like hating myself so much for how like me and Curtis made Tifa like such a horrible, mean person to Cloud. And then you play the remake and you're like, wow, Cloud, you're actually a dick. Like you suck, dude. Like,
well, I mean, that also comes with, the different ways, because we portrayed Cloud as he's kind of, he's
kind of like a beta male, but really he's not a beta male.
He's actually as pretty level-headed for most of it. And he reminds me a lot of like, kind of like Church from Red versus Blue. He's just like, he's along for the ride, and he's like, oh, why do we have to do this? He's like, he doesn't want to be doing any of this, so he's just more frustrated and exasperated throughout the whole thing. Whereas in the remake, and I guess the original, he's kind of this stereotypical, anime, dark, brooding monster type of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So we portrayed him differently, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
No.
Yeah,
because like it's but what we did and the jokes that we wrote for Tifa, like definitely very regrettable. Very, I wholeheartedly apologize for all the rudeness that was brought on with that. But no, at the end, that kind of came at a necessity because there was a joke in season 2 which was very uncouth, and then a lot of people did not take kindly to that, rightfully so. And so we were like, okay. episode 2. That's what I said, right?
You said
that's right. Yeah, because I remember we were like kind of like during the marathon, we were like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna talk over the scene right now, so that we don't even ask about it.
Yeah, because we're like personally embarrassed about it. Oh,
don't worry about it.
I don't remember what the joke was. So
there you go. And keep it.
There you go. Yeah.
Keep it that way, right?
Now I got to rewind it and hear what you said. What episode? I got to find it myself.
It was episode 420. But yeah, no. That needed to happen.
Just say because it was 420. That's why.
There you go. Exactly.
69 seconds in.
There you go. Exactly. But no, yeah, the end part at season 1 definitely needed to happen because it was at that point now that as well. At this point, they are now as a group. So, you can't kind of bottle that shit in completely because there's clearly like problems that they're both having. So like now they kind of just have to go on and be like, all right, we gotta level out. We gotta just like, and they talk shit to each other like on a level, but it's not to an insulting level. And then like when Tifa needs to be serious, she'll be serious. When Cloud needs to be serious, she'll be serious. And then I realized at a point of season 2, where both, because Aerith also hated Tifa because, you're trying to go after Cloud. And then she's like looking. Yeah, exactly. And then we kind of dropped that angle when we realized, okay, well, Aerith is now going to be a much more serious character, and she can't have these issues of like, I'm here, but a man is you're trying to get between me and my man. Like that shit's not important right now, like at all, ever. But there needed to be that sense of like, I understand where you're coming from. I know what you're going through. So I think it's better that we kind of like have this talk. And then eventually, Tifa ends up becoming like a lot more cooler with Aerith. And I think also as well, that moment where she meets Yuffie, because she realizes, Yuffie's like being a dick and I was being a dick. So I need to kind of like help her out because, like you want to be the person to someone that you wish that you had at that moment, right? So in a way, it was unfortunate, but it kind of, the pieces thankfully fell into parts. It was just, I still cringe when I see what happens with season 1, but onward, I think it was what the moment of at the end of season 1 needed to happen for necessity for Tifa's growth as a character.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would say I mentioned this before a while, like the last time I talked to you, but still, favorite part was you had a choice to run up all those stairs in the Shinra Tower or whatever, and then they were in the vents, and then I can't remember, like Barrett said something like, I got a boner of rage or something.
Yeah, we are erect with rage.
That we cannot contain or something. It was like the wording of that. I think I threw up or I spit out my water and I did a reaction. I was choking and dying. I was just like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, I have to write that down. Like, that is just too, and I still can't remember. I should have, but it's so funny. Like, I don't know. To me, it was one of the best. And of course, the Sephiroth moment to Eric, like the way you guys, you all just like, because I know we all knew it was coming as fans. Like, it has to happen. I'm like, and how are you all going to handle it? I was thinking in my head, are you guys going to just make it funny? But it's like, even the little hand to like save the game to replace her portrait, that's how we all felt too as fans. And that's obviously must have been how you all felt too at that moment. Like, it was just like, oh man, I got goosebumps right now talking about it. It hit me. It was so well done, So I'll keep it short on that. But those two moments for sure, like,
of course,
popped out. Really.
There are moments that we at Team 4-Star that we do fully understand if there are significant moments in the story that we know that we want to respect. And, it happens all the time in DBZ. There are moments in DBZ that we suddenly go, like, okay, we're not going to like take the piss out of this. We're going to like be serious. And because we know that it has a place in the fans' heart. So we don't want to like make fun of it. Like, there are plenty of other times to make fun of stuff that deserve it. But like, when Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2, no, we kept that straight. And with Aerith's death, we kept that straight. So we kept that as straight as possible because it's like, well, that's a big moment. And people have been waiting for that. So we don't want to like be churlish with it. So that's what we try and do.
You guys went above and beyond.
Yeah, I honestly feel like,
that's kind of, like, it was like, like you guys really hit home. Like, that part really was like, wow. Like, it's like
I really like the tone you guys went with the music too, for when, like, you know, it was like a piano theme compared to the original. You know, it was a lot more softer, and then even adding those shots of like flashbacks and everything, I was like, dang, this is sad. Like,
got my eyes sweating, man.
Yeah.
Got my eyes sweating. My eyes were sweating.
Yeah, me and Cliff went back and forth a lot when it came to like what the music was going to be. I wanted it to be like pretty like big, like a big moment, because big music, because it's big moment. Like big music equals big moment, you know? Or big moment equals big music was what was in my mind.
Yeah.
But having that, go on, Cliff.
A moment like that doesn't really need the music necessarily. It kind of sells itself. It's kind of like, you know, the heroic blue screen of death moment for Cloud. It's like, okay, oh, you're dead. Like, what was going through his head was ridiculous, and we needed to sort of be along for that ride with him. Like going through, if you just suddenly saw, you know, one of your best friends get stabbed to death in front of you, if there were a soundtrack for it in your head, it wouldn't be oh la la. It would be shit. It would be something, you know, that kind of just, you're in your quiet place. It's like, okay, your brain's shutting down. It needs to deal with this. And then eventually, ultimately, it needed to be a little bit more sinister. So I sort of worked in a little bit of Sephiroth's theme there. And so it came out really well. I don't remember what exactly my ideas were beforehand, but it's because it's been a few years at this point. But ultimately, I'm satisfied with what we came out with.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So you got a question for them?
Yeah. Let me see.
I'll let you do that because I've been kind of talking.
It's all good. Would you say was it difficult to find voice actors and actresses for the characters?
Not really, because even before when I came out, a lot of the actors were already cast. Like Kurt did like a lot of the legwork for that. He already wanted Sarah Ann Williams to play Tifa, and it was a cool story about that was he was auditioning her, and then in the moment of the audition, she was like, "Hey, just hold on for a second." And then she goes off mic and she yells at her roommate. She's like, "God damn it, Bosco, I'm trying to do a fucking recording." And Kurt was like, "That's it. That's what I want." So we were just like, all right, Tifa, Sarah, it's just Sarah. Like, that's just who she is. And then
you gotta love moments like that.
Yeah. And then Kira was already going to be Aerith. And like, you know, just in my head, I was like, okay, no, that works. Obviously Stamper was going to play Barrett, and then I played Barrett. Kurt was going to be Cloud, but then we stepped down, and then he ended up getting Justin Briner, and so we went through like the whole script just to kind of explain what we were going for with him, and so we were able to get him there. Mystic Pyro Freak was already going to be Yuffie because he had heard her on on one of Falero's older podcasts, and where she played like a kid Goku, but she sounded like Mabel Pines, and he was like, "I really like that. I want that to be Yuffie." And ironically enough, also for Vincent was kind of like, but when we were doing Vincent, we didn't really know what he was going to be. Like Kurt wanted to make him like, "Hello, I'm old Greg. I gotta you like bagels," like one of those, like a Noel Fielding, like from an episode of Noel Fielding show. And so I was like, okay, but like I don't know. And then I remember seeing like the IT crowd is like, "Hello, I'm a goth person. It's me, Vincent.
I remember the first time I heard Cradle of Filth."
Yes, it was the greatest moments of my life. Yes. And I was like, Okay, I feel like that's just going to be Vincent because like his whole thing is like, "Hello, I've just been sleeping in a coffin. Everyone, it is me. How's it going?" Yes. I was like, okay, all right, that's gonna be Vincent because it's either. And I wanted to make that joke of like everyone's like, Vincent's gonna sound like Alucard. Vincent's gonna sound like Alucard. I'm like, no, he's not. Alucard exists already. It's not gonna be the same character. It's gonna sound different. So I wanted to like do the bait and switch of be like, it is I, Alucard. It is me. Hello, everyone. It's actually what I'm going to sound like. So I was like, oh my god.
I gotta admit, I was ticked. I was like, what? Whoa.
Yeah.
Man,
that's exactly what I wanted.
Wasn't there a little joke added where it's like when you name him, it's like it said Alucard, but you deleted it, and it was like
and it was just a bunch of stabs. Because like he's just a horror. Like I kind of see Vincent as like what are his limit breaks? He turns into horror movie monsters. Yeah. So I was like, okay, he's just a horror movie fan. He's like he's that person who's like, hey, do you want to watch this classic movie of like luchadors versus zombies? He's like one of those dudes who just like has very niche horror like B movie like love kind of deals. And I was like, that's what I want him to be, just like one of those people. But yeah, no, for other voice actors like Godo is Sungwon Cho, Pro ZD. He plays Godo as well as Dio because like these were characters that I wanted to audition, and then a bunch of other characters as well. We went inward with TFS people like Grant plays Bahamut as well as a bunch of other characters. And the reason I wanted Grant to play Bahamut was because he was the one who came up with the Barrett naming all these different Bahamut jokes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like we wrote season 2, episode 1 as a 2-parter, and then we spent the next year like cutting down like so much of season 2 to kind of like fit because we were so worried of like because season 1, a majority of the episodes were under 10 minutes, so we couldn't get that ad space in the middle. So we were like, okay, episodes need to be at least 10 minutes or a little bit longer. So that way we could do that. And so when we were writing it, me and Falero were writing season 2, but then he bounced. And we were so like just making sure that everything was over 10 minutes that it ended up being too long. So we needed to cut down some stuff. And during that time, where was I going with that?
I suppose really it was just mainly about like trying to just like get something a bit more like structured and stuff because it took a long time to develop. Like definitely there was a time where it was pretty much about to be shelved, but then we had a little bit of a rejig and we managed to get it back on board. So that's why there was like a good like 18-month period between seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah, that was during the year of Tiba.
Yeah, exactly. So there was that as well. So we just thought, well, we don't want to kind of like overcrowd things. So we wanted to like divide our efforts, and then eventually we could come back with a package that I think we managed to carry through all the way through to the end.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'm glad it came back. I was worried. I was like waiting. I was like, and then one day I was like, oh. I guys got so happy. So,
yeah, exactly.
Basically, you were under 10 minutes before because the ads, they started adding that for a YouTube thing, and you guys definitely want to, take advantage of that because that's obviously money, and I get it. So then you unfortunately kind of you felt that the episodes were getting too long, so you were trying to find a happy medium. That's kind of
yes. And so I spent that year while Tiba was going on, just going back and just being like, okay, like in my head, like visually imagining, because when season 1 came out, I already had an idea of like what it would look like. So as long as, because I was grabbing the footage at that time now too, as well as using like a program to allow myself to like go to certain parts and do to like certain save states and then have certain characters like out. So that way I have like more room for footage and stuff like that. So I was able to go back and do that. And because I had that information in my head, I was able to like visualize like how I wanted certain things to go and how I wanted certain speeds to hit. So doing that was really good for season 2, which kind of personally was one of my favorite seasons because like a lot of the jokes were just like really quick because we had 2 years to work on it for writing as opposed to like 3 and onward where it was just like the 1 year and like I set a deadline for myself of like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, and if it ends up being funny, that's great. If not, fuck it, it's serious.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a question for Nidge?
Oh, I do, but I was gonna ask what their favorite characters were from the original and for the Abridged. I kind of answered mine already with Barrett. I guess I kind of jumped the gun on that one. It's just that voice he's got. Like, can you say Nidge? Don't fuck up.
Nidge, don't fuck up.
There we go.
Don't fuck up and pick Yuffie's brother or whatever in the DLC for only PS5, which is gonna fuck over a lot of people who only have a PS4. Me.
Yeah, I know. True.
Yeah. But what about you? What about you guys? Who are your favorite characters?
So, favorite character as a character, and then favorite characters to use in the video games and the original.
Okay.
You can mention the new one if you want, but
I mean, I was going to say the new one because honestly, like I have a really hard time like falling in love with a character if it's just text. Like, I'll just read it and then I'll forget. Be like, wait, what? Oh, okay, yeah, I guess I don't remember that happening, as opposed to like actually hearing the voiceover and then like it kind of sticks with you more because like it's such a good performance. But
that's exactly why I want some, modern remakes of a bunch of older games like FF7, which we were fortunate enough to get with the remake. But there are some older, especially some older JRPGs like Golden Sun, which are
wow.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, Golden Sun is absolutely fantastic. One of the best JRPGs ever. And the fact that I can still remember.
Wasn't that on Game Boy? I think
that was on GBA.
Advance? Yeah, Game Boy Advance. Yep, I remember. I actually still have that game somewhere.
Yeah. And they did do a sequel for the 3DS, I think. But I mean, the fact that I can still remember, the individual characters and their personalities without a voiceover means that with actually adding voiceover to it would be absolutely fantastic. So I'm so glad they did that with FF7. But I hope it starts a trend of redoing some of these older classics with modern technology.
Did you ever think about doing that? Make a mod for it and then mod the game so that
a mod for Golden Sun?
Yeah, then on GBA for the emulator and then have
the issue with that is that GBA there are technical reasons why. Well, yeah, the format. I mean, GBAs can only hold like 32 megabytes of data or something.
Yeah.
In one cartridge, and I don't think all the dialogue would fit.
No, I mean emulator though. Emulator.
An emulator, but I mean if you're changing the file format, it would be different. And we can't really talk about emulators because that's technically a taboo and illegal thing if you don't already own the game. And then there's there's laws against it and stuff. So, but I'd love to do that, but I
thing, but I understand Nintendo would probably
Nintendo especially.
Yeah. So
I suppose for me from the game, probably like Yuffie, because like Yuffie kind of like screams out to me like mid to late 90s plucky young girl character. Like just that's the kind of character I usually like to write in my original projects. Just like kind of the young plucky teenage girl, just like who's like gets ideas above their station, but then has a lot of character development. But from the abridged version, it has to be Vincent because he doesn't really say much, but when he does, it definitely makes an impact. Especially like with "Oh Joe," like that scene.
Beware the quiet ones.
Yeah, probably those are my picks.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just remember that scene when he turned into like a werewolf monster and all of them freaked out afterwards. Like they're shocked.
Right? Because it's like, yo, excuse me? Tell me, when could you do that? You never mentioned anything. Do we? I don't like that. Right? And then Red's like, hey, eat around here often. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Groovy. Adding in groovy was like such a late thing because I was just like groovy. Because like once again, a horror movie. He's just a walking horror movie reference.
Right,
so reference horror movies and like different franchises like that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like games, oh my God, it's been so long since I've played like Final Fantasy VII like original. But the one thing I find really interesting is that, and this might come out as blasphemous, but so many characters, if not all the characters in Final Fantasy VII, kind of play the same because they because think about it, there isn't a character who's just the thief, the mage, the fighter, the brawler, or whatever, because everyone has like, there's all this materia, you can give it to different separate people. So like there isn't like technically a class system, more of like a utility, as opposed to like 9, where like Vivi is clearly the mage, so clearly use magic. Steiner is clearly the swords fighter, so just use sword attacks and all that. So it's kind of like stuff like that I like more. So like if I were to choose a character just for the sake of like, but if you were to look in like the remake, I was playing as Cloud, and then the whole idea where like you could switch back and forth. I was like, okay, but if like the whole point of Cloud is you're going to be playing Cloud, I don't see the point in switching back and forth unless I have to. And then there was the level where you play as Barrett, and I realized, holy shit, I really like playing as just long range, just and everyone else just go do your own shit, and like you can set it up. I like that, and I realized I really like playing Barrett as in the remake, but in the game, my favorite character, or not the game, the Machinabridged series, I really like Yuffie. She's just like the Michelangelo of the group, and I love those characters, and like she literally is like the 90s, but not 90s extreme, 90s like I like skateboards and cheese strings and ska. Like it's one of those.
Go-Gurt.
Yes.
The more fluorescent the flavor, the better.
Yeah, everybody. And she's just like skanking everywhere. Like I was really hoping at some point we'd get like a fan art of just Yuffie like skanking or whatever. But pick it up. Like I was just hoping that would exist, but I don't think anyone's picked up on the idea that Yuffie's supposed to be a ska fan.
Yeah.
But
I remember seeing a while back, maybe about a week ago, someone made a little animation of like it was like a drawing slideshow of like the beginning of episode 1. When like they're coming off the train and like Cloud kills his 2 guys. Like someone made a drawing animations of it, and it was pretty hilarious. I guess if I could find this, I could show you guys, but it was good. It was hilarious. Using your Machinabridged and everything audio into this, it was just making him look all goofy and everything.
We've been noticing a lot of that too. Like seeing that stuff is really cool to me. Like even like the remake footage that people use and then they put over with their audio, I think that's also really cool. Because like I played the game, so I know what the cutscenes that they would use, but to see like how they kind of go about it, that's really cool to me. And like even also there's one really good one about like when Barrett and Red first meet, and like you kind of get like that someone else's idea of how the framing for everything would look, because that's the one problem with Machinabridged is that it's very still, and the only like funkiness that you can get from it is through like the camera movements like digitally rather than like organically inside. So seeing what people kind of come up with is really cool and interesting.
Sometimes you get lucky, and maybe there is a particular movement of the actual polygons. So I mean, you might get like a head tilt that you can time and stuff like that to break it up.
Yeah,
but those are very sparing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The build I always use, at least in the original, it was basically Barrett and Sid and Cloud, because they all had their limit breaks that could break 10,000. Everyone else, limit break, no matter who you got, it was capped at 999. You know,
I've never seen a over 9999.
Well, Omni Slash does so many hits that.
Okay, all right, that's what you mean. Gotcha.
Yeah, and when you do the limit break, you get like 40,000 damage. Like Barrett's Catastrophe again, like 30, 40. Sid's Airship, like 20, 30,000. But everyone else's ultimate was just 10,000 once. I just say 10,000 because it's faster, but
makes sense.
Yeah, that's the only. So to me, it's like it was kind of a one-sided pick. Like there was no point in playing anyone else. But the first time I played, back in the day, in the dark ages, we didn't have internet. I didn't know what was going to happen, and Eris was my favorite character. So I gave her all the strength tabs as a kid, all the intelligence tabs. I gave her everything. Yeah. And then when she died, my heart sank. I thought we could res her eventually or something. I was just like, I was so sad about it. In fact, that my girlfriend at the time broke up with me.
Oh my god!
I was like 12 or something, but still, like my first.
I had his girlfriend at 12.
Why not?
Okay, fair enough.
Dude, I'm sure someone's told you before. You look like Angry Joe, like stunt double. Everyone ever said it to you? Yeah. Angry Joe. You even kind of sound like him a little bit.
That's a name I haven't heard in years.
Who the hell is Angry Joe?
Isn't he the guy who does like a show? Like he gets mad on YouTube? Am I saying that?
That's
right?
There is a funny story related to Angry Joe and us. It was from our first convention ever, like YomaCon 2009. And Linkara and Angry Joe were guests alongside us. It got to the point, this was our first ever panel, and it got so big, the line was going out the door. And they eventually had to break it up into 2 panels, but you could tell, like, you could just see Joe in the back just trying to marshal. It's like, this is bullshit, guys. Yo, you really deserve like a bigger room. Why don't you have a bigger room? Like, he was like bigging us up.
Okay, yeah,
and like, trying to like get us a bigger room and stuff like that. But it was just like seeing Angry Joe in his complete like regalia, just like on our side, and like that was nuts. That was really surreal.
I've never heard myself compared to that particular individual before, though. But
you're like a stunt double.
Thanks.
Hey,
it's a stunt double or something, you know, or you could pass as a relative at least at most. I'd maybe say that, but you know.
Okay.
One of the questions I was gonna ask was, like, did you guys like ever, because like following up from Dragon Ball Z Abridged and
Helsing?
And Helsing, following up after that, do you guys feel like it was kind of like, were you guys worried how your fans would have took the making a video game Abridged adaptation?
It was definitely in a different ballpark for sure. Because yes, a lot of the fan base when we started off was like Dragon Ball, and in that vein, just anime in general.
Yeah.
So going off to like a video game where I guess in a way the Venn diagram, like there's enough space in there to justify a video game, especially one like Final Fantasy VII, which is so like, I'm a video game, and the anime community adopts them. You know what I mean? Like the whole, because like I said, like spiky hair, big swords, like it's got those archetypes of an anime as well, plus also various other animes as well. So I think. And it also definitely helps that it introduced, I guess, a lot of people in the West to these styles of games and that type of lifestyle that kind of is, like I said, Venn diagrammed in and brought in, like shouldered in. So we weren't really all that worried, but we wouldn't know unless we actually did it. So right now, the first episode is like 2.4 million views after 5 years, and like. Most of the episodes in season 1 now are surpassing 1 million views, and before it wasn't like that. We were at like 400,000 average or so compared to like a Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which would like hit like 1 million views in like less than 24 hours. So it was important to know, at least for my mental sake, of like, okay, this isn't what people are here for, but it definitely is something on the menu that people will order, as opposed to what the main thing. We're not the Big Mac of McDonald's, but boy, are we the junior chicken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of the time, people saw FF7 as like the third rung of like the Abridged series out of the 3, and then it got to the point that when Helsing had ended, DBZA had ended, there was only FF7 left, and then when that ended, people were actually getting like, wow, actually there was a lot of levity towards it. Had a lot of significance.
It did. Yeah. It marked the end of what the Team 4-Star would be in terms of abridging. Like it was the final abridged thing ever that we're ever going to do, ever, forever, ever. So
in the traditional framework and how traditional is definitely
yes.
Yeah, the only thing frustrating I had with the Final Fantasy VII was people would be just like dicks, like quit this, go back to Dragon Ball, or like they were just rude. Or when's the next Dragon Ball come? It's like, yo, you guys, you know how fucking much work this takes? Like, geez,
exactly.
Like, just be freaking thankful that someone's doing it and doing it right. You know, like, I was so pissed off at some people. Like, they just made me so mad.
It is. I mean, that kind of comes with it, right? Like, a friend of mine actually came up with a really good analogy. And he's a game developer. So if anyone knows about people complaining about shit on the internet, it's game devs. They were, when a game comes out, and then people are like, "This sucks. Make it quicker. Like, change up things." One, publishers want games to be coming out at this specific time because they need to hit a quota so that way they can make money for like the Christmas sales or whatever. And it's shit like that. But I'm not going to get into it. I'm not an expert. But how easy is it right now for people to take out their phones and just film whatever? They can just go, boom, film anything, whatever, post it online, whatever, it's done. Easy. I made art. It's simple. If it's easy for me, it should be easy for you. Right. Why is it taking you so long? I just did this thing that took up like no time at all. And they don't have the intricacies or know how much there is. It's the iceberg effect. Look at how big this thing is. It's not that bad. But look at all this extra, even more triple big shit underneath that you don't see. And that's always just going to be the case. That's why a lot of people really like behind the scenes stuff of how movies are made. Like, you have no idea like how much a Bible is for like, this is a short film, right? As opposed to like, you can imagine like how much shit like goes into like the smallest thing. And a lot of people don't realize that. And when they don't realize that and they don't think first of people as individuals like themselves who just kind of need to do shit so that way they can live and enjoy life and like not be stressed about anything. Because, you know, you always like put on a face, but you don't see the extra shit that goes on behind. Like I said, iceberg effect. But when people are like, we want this thing because they just want to consume it, but they don't see the people who make it. They just see the end result. And sometimes people just want to see the end result. That's fine. But you need to understand that when things are being made, the people behind it and the people who want to make the thing, they want to make sure it's as best as it can be, but not stress themselves too much to a point where it's like killing themselves. You know what I mean? Crunch. So yeah, I understand crunch culture. Exactly. And until you have been in that, until you've been in the trenches, you don't know like what it's about. So you feel like you can say anything. And it's unfortunate, but I hope that more people realize now that we do have that ability that people can film things. They can also film, this is how something is being made. So that way, when people see that, they could be like, oh shit, I didn't realize that. I'm going to take that into consideration next time one of my favorite YouTuber, streamer, people, whatever have you, is doing something, and I'm going to wait patiently.
Yeah, it's probably with age too. I think maybe even I was guilty when I was a kid. like, when's the next Mario coming out or something? You know, like
exactly.
You know, with my arms crossed, like me. But now, it's like.
But now that you have other shit going on in your life that you don't need to spend that time waiting, and then when it does happen, you'll be like, oh, that took no time at all because I was so busy doing this. Yeah. Adulting, being responsibles, being responsibles. Yeah.
I want to get that shirt. Hashtag adulting is hard. I want to say that to people. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I was gonna say that kind of leads to my next question. That leads to that was like, would you say it was more difficult making Machinabridged over like Dragon Ball Z Abridged and all that? Because it's a video game adaptation compared to an anime adaptation.
It's hard to say because the writing teams are different for both of them. So, I mean. Antfish, I mean, you've done some abridging yourself, so you've done some writing. And so have you. Actually, so have I. Okay, so we've all done.
we can all speak on like what is different in because none of us work on. Well, Cliff, you work on Dragon Ball Z in terms of like making music when Scott asked for it. Lawrence as well. You've also done for motion graphics for parts in Dragon Ball Z Abridged as well. I've just done like voiceover. Like I don't like. We can all speak on how it's different in our positions towards Machinabridged, but as a whole towards Dragon Ball, we don't know their process other than Nick Scott and Curtis are in a room and they script it out.
Gotcha.
As opposed to, I can speak from the writing position in that with Final Fantasy VII, we do not have the luxury of different cutbacks. So we have to watch the actual. I saved a walkthrough of someone who was doing it. I think I added like 200 extra views on each of their videos because I had to keep going back to make sure. And I would watch it and be like, okay, what's happening here? Cloud is talking to this person is there, and then it takes all this time, and then the dialogue box covers up there. Okay, like how can we figure out a way to make sure that things are going on? So I have to follow that so that way I can watch and see, and then I have to go to when they mention like a plot point, I'll be like, "Hey, that's an important plot point. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to research that plot point on the wiki page of Final Fantasy VII. Go there, find out. Okay, what is this person's actual name? What is like the down the line? What is it that they do? And I have like 50 tabs open of just like the different greens of chocobos, the fucking Icicle Inn, like just all this bullshit information that I have to go through because I want to make sure that everything's right. And it's so it can be really frustrating. But then there are some scenes where it's just like, how do we do this? Like the motorcycle scene. Me and Kurt were just like smashing our heads trying to figure out, what do we do with this? How do we make it work? And thankfully we had Stefan, who was the animator. So we were like, if we wanted to, we could just have him like do something and then like we can animate it. And we were like, okay, let's go to sleep on it. The second I went to bed, my brain just said news report. And I woke up and was like, okay. And I just made a recording of myself. It's a news report. They're in, and then Tom is there, and then they talk about it. And then Rufus is like, I'm going to find out what happened. And it's a news report because it's a helicopter. It's a helicopter camera. That's it. And then I went to bed. And then the next day I told Curtis, and he was like, that's it. That's what we're going to do. And so
nice.
And that's, I guess that's also a lesson in scripting, that if you're just like so frustrated, you're like, what do I do? Just take 15.
Yeah,
just
take a step back.
Take a swap. Take a sweet walk. Go outside if you can. Just walk along. Don't think about it, because naturally your brain will just be like, okay, this is in the background, and then it'll kind of cycle, and then as you're breathing fresh air, new idea, boom, right there. Like that's how I came up with a lot of the jokes. Like I just be like, I don't know what to do, so I just go for a walk, and then I'll be like, okay, let me think about it. Maybe it'd be like this. And then I would just take out my phone and then I would like say it, because my brain goes, me talking is quicker than me typing out what it is, because I'll forget what it is. So I'll just say it on my phone. And then I go back and I was like, okay, that's what it is. And then I go back to it. It's the whole like write drunk, edit sober kind of idea. So like, yeah, that's that in terms of the writing parts. Like that's what I had to do. Lawrence, I know for you, it was incredibly crazy, but I think we know you could explain best the difference between like editing Final Fantasy VII and what the footage for like a DBZA would be.
Well, a typical anime abridged series would be is you'd have the footage and you just work with what you got, and you there's a certain amount you go, okay, all right, you work with what you have, and maybe you can add some little frippery things with Photoshop every now and again, but mainly with FF7, you do have the boxes to deal with, but we had some programs where we could remove the boxes and stuff like that, which was really helpful. But then at the same time, you need to like have characters that aren't there be there, or be there and get them out of there. And then sometimes you need to kind of like time things, and there's a lot of layers to it. As in like sometimes you need to like have loads of nested sequences in Premiere, so it gets a little bit chugged up. Gotcha. But it's a very intricate, and there's a lot of things that could easily go wrong. That was season 2 and doing the footage, because I was doing the footage for season 1. And it was just the point we're going back and forth. Did I do this right? No. It was just about getting faster feedback loops. And by having the footage being given to me, I then knew that this is what we could work with. I could then add my own spin on it, see whether it works or not, like go back and forth, come up with something that is really cohesive with the original showrunner. But in comparison, so with the game, you have to like think it on the fly more than with an anime, because you can be a little bit more lax with that with the anime, because you just go work with what you got.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I would guess Abridged Final Fantasy would have been harder. I'm just guessing from an outside view.
On a technical level, yes. But
work is work. I'll say it that way. I'm not downplaying nothing, but yeah.
And doing an anime one is just as difficult in order to try and get the timings right, because you're more limited. But
it sounds like it's difficult. Like they're both difficult, but just for different reasons, for different bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
No, quite right.
But were you continuing on with that, Lawrence? No, you wanted to add anything else?
Okay. Yeah, I think, well, I've asked all my questions and we hit the hour mark. I don't want to keep you guys waiting too long. Unless there's anything, Cliff, you wanted to add to that for the question?
No, I'm too far removed from the creative process itself.
You make the music.
Yeah, but in terms of music,
music is music. I know what you
music. It's the same in either one. because I mean,
but you always strive to make things different.
Yeah, but what I mean is the process is the same. You know, you give me the footage or you give me, the situation, and I make the music. Creatively, there's not a whole lot different for that.
All right, fair enough.
I understand what you're coming from. You
gotcha.
make it fit, and that's kind of like, but that's the talent you have. That it's yeah, I know what you mean though.
Yeah,
it's like even just trying to make the music fit, like whatever's going on in the scene, like the atmosphere of it, like with the tone, like what we said, like the air scene when she died, and then Gohan transforming Super Saiyan 2, just making the music tones fit just right for the moments. It's like I get it.
Yeah, and music is music. I mean, unless you're shredding on a guitar or doing like Mozart or something, it's music is music.
There are some fan questions in the chat.
Yeah,
there's some. For some reason, I can't see any of the chat in this. The link you all gave me must have. Oh, it'll help if I click comments tab. I'm on the private chat one this whole time.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys have time for some fan questions? I don't want to keep you guys waiting too long.
It's up to you guys.
I got time.
I got time.
A couple.
Yeah.
All right. You can go ahead and click
a couple.
Let's see. We got.
Well, there's a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot. Yeah, I don't know where to start at.
We'll start pretty close. If you guys want your question again, you answer it again. We're going to start because some people, I don't know if they're here still to answer the question. We'll start with this one. Christian? Oh, I can't click on it. I'm not an admin right now.
Okay, Christian's? Okay, here.
Question for Masako. Describe an effective, complex graphic or animation which you designed. That is a
that's the thing. There's been a lot of them in FF7 that I really can't remember too many of them. But I suppose it's just like the news reports, because those ones they may look simple, but you got to make it just right. So that means the timing and the effects just generally work. So again, end of season 1 probably was like a big task. Pretty much any of the battles, like when you have to use the ATB, like you gotta be creative with all the different kind of like idle animations. So you just gotta like make sure that those work. So usually whenever I come across one of those, it's usually just a bit more intensive. So I'd say probably just those really, because that requires a little bit more attention instead of a typical scene.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next question then would be Bowser. I guess we'll go down the list.
Question for Antfish. What part did you like most about making Final Fantasy?
Like the whole entire series since 1980, whatever the fuck. Oh man, it's just hiring Nobu Uematsu. That was my favorite part. No, getting to work with everyone, like just being able to collaborate with Lawrence, with Cliff, with Stefan, all the other boys in TFS, all my actors, all the special guests that we were able to bring in, all the guest artists, all the guest musicians, all the guest also still musicians, I guess, yeah. But also making the albums was also really cool. Like I loved the process of and learning like different like intricacies with music design and like album formatting and music tracking with Cliff and DJ Cutman. It's all been that whole process, and just being able to work with everybody has just been really, really special, and being able to kind of like be at the helm of that is really, really dope.
Cool. Next question then. It's another. And how does it feel to be a director? And do you have any advice for storyboard artists who are becoming directors?
I have never. Well, no, not professionally. I don't do storyboard work, so I couldn't, unfortunately, tell you how to become a director from a storyboard artistry. Like I don't have a background in arts in that drawing, so I'm not the best person to ask, unfortunately. But if you were enjoying what you're doing with storyboard artistry, what I can say is to keep doing it, that you're loving it, and within your own community, make friends, be a good person, show up on time, show up early, never on time, because that's late.
Whoops.
Yeah.
I had to kill them viruses. I'm sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, no, just be be a good person within your community, and I'm sure the way will find you, or you will find the way, vice versa. I don't know, whichever works better. One of those. Just be a good person and don't be a dick. Like that's
yeah, don't be me.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
It won't end good if you be like me.
Yeah, exactly. You'll end up just interviewing a bunch of schmucks.
Oh, not even be like that.
No. Do you guys have a brain trust team modeled by Pixar, where a small group of creative leaders at Team 4-Star who oversee development on all the movies in the show?
So in other words, like overlords.
Yeah. So
who's like the executive person?
Okay, yeah.
That would be Scott and Nick are
kind of I'd say so.
Yeah, but I mean they do have kind of final say in everything, but there are projects for which they're largely hands off. I mean, they don't have their hands in everything, so to speak.
Yeah. That'd be unhealthy for them.
Yeah.
Would any of you do a solid for Tifa?
I mean, if she asks nicely.
Yeah, nicely.
And if she's like, "Yo, can you help move a couch?" I'll be like, if it's a weekend, sure, and then we can just get lunch at whatever is like area in your place or whatever. When it's safe.
I would tell her to move the couch herself. You see her flipping to the takes there.
No, but that's the thing.
Couch. No.
Yeah, but if it's just like exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, you're in her good books. Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. There you go. Be like, yo, unless you pay me or buy me lunch or whatever, and if we get to hang out after, that might be cool.
Do it herself, but you feel like, hey, even if I'm just like providing 10% of the support for this couch, hey, lunch afterwards.
Exactly.
And you get some brownie points for being a friend.
Yeah. Plus, you get to be out of your house. That's nice.
Yes.
I answered the last question. See, don't be like me. That goes back to the other question. See.
Oh my god.
It was a good question. I had fun with it.
Name a time when your creative or alternative thinking solved the problem on the show.
I think I answered that already with the bicycle scene.
The bicycle scene, yes. Yeah, that was like.
I'm trying to think if there was any other moments in creativity. There was the Instagram where Heidegger became the head of the social media department, and like everyone's like, when they get to Costa del Sol, Rufus is like, now I must applaud you. Like he's scrolling through all the shit that happened because they weren't there, but somehow they knew that it happened. So I was like, okay, how did they know? Heidegger was there taking pictures on Shinstagram.
That's right.
Love that name. Or no, also fucking the live stream of the coronation, and Cloud is in the audience, just being like, "Wow, he's fucking up." So the news reports really are like the best way to like. They're like, okay, how do we solve these mini games?
Yeah. Oh, I think we lost River.
Uh-oh.
I like that pose. He's
like, what a pose to go out on.
We should all just do this to see that. Wait, it's this way. There we go.
Excellent.
Nice. Then we'll show them it later. All right, so I guess we'll go to the next one here. John, I can't highlight it though because I was an admin on this one. This all this is River's admin account. That's why I couldn't be. Now he's doing this.
He's starting.
He's back.
Like that, he said stop there.
I'll show you a picture later, buddy.
All right, no problem.
Anyways, yeah. So the next one would be John. He said he couldn't make it to the call because the internet is terrible. But is there any storyboarding process where Lawrence put the boards together with scratch audio and temporary music?
No, that usually is like Ant's territory. Like, because in terms of timing, because that was an important part. Like, I usually come up with the rough kind of like visual cut to work with, and then sometimes Ant would be like, "Hey, so can you just move that like a quarter of a second back, like this one light, or 10 frames back?" At first, I was like, "What difference does it make?" But then, as it go forward, you feel like, no, that does. It kills the tempo. If not, you realize that afterwards, after a while, the intricacy. At the time,
I do a lot of editing, so that's what I do.
Yeah.
So I totally understand it right away.
Season 1 was I couldn't imagine how frustrating it must have been for you having me to be like forward and backwards. Because like, wait a minute, if it's forwards, then it has to be but like I was just like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it myself, so that way I don't add extra headache stresses to you.
It's just exactly what you envision. So just say something to go, hey.
Well, it's nice though. You did like a lot of like the basic stuff, and then you just kind of touched up just a little bit here and there. That's a good team actually, like doing that too. So
yeah, and a lot of
it's all about getting good fast feedback loops. It pleases everybody.
Because I used to be in a band and everything, and I would make pretty much everything. But then my friend was like the icing on the cake, is what I used to call it. He'd come in and like sprinkle some crack. He'd do like a little parts here and there, like to add it up. Like he threw like a little quick riff or whatever the lead guitarist would, and I was like, dude, that's awesome. Yeah. So it's nice.
Setting the bed, I believe is what it's called. Put the drum and bass first, and then the extra instruments.
Yeah, I was the bass player and the composer, so that's pretty much
Let's see, you got. How do you work with collaborators such as writers, creative directors, technical artists, and producers?
How do you work?
Well, when it comes to that, really, I work as a freelance editor professionally. So whenever I work with other people, like that are in different fields and stuff like that, you usually have to kind of like realize and show the limitations of your chosen field. Like you say, oh, like for example, I worked in like companies where it's mostly middle management who don't really know how editing works. So they would say, oh, you can make that happen, can't you? Do it in 10 minutes. And that's how it works. And most of the time I'd have to admit, they would be a bit of a boomer. As in, like, they don't know, bless their cotton socks. But I do it anyway. But it's just like, but when it comes to like on the internet, when people are much more savvy, you play to people's strengths. You bring people on where you know that that's what they do. And as Ant said, just be kind. There are too many clever people. Well, don't try to be clever. Like, just be kind, because everyone wants to succeed and do well on the internet. So you just find like-minded people, and in time, you just naturally find them, and you just get that groove. Like, I would say that a lot of the time, like whenever I have a chance to go to a convention and I'm with Scott and we're talking about editing, we just find that groove. Like, we know what we're talking about, and we just have that same lingo. And in terms of writing, when you work for people for a long time, Cliff, and you start to get what they want, and things get done quicker. So it may seem like hard at first and things go really slowly. That's temporary. You then start to find a style, and then it all works.
So have patience, unlike me.
Yes. It's like, it's going to go the way you want at first, but it gets better. You start to gel more.
Cool.
Gotcha. Let's see.
Music genre. What is your favorite, Ant?
Your Ein?
They're asking you.
No, they're asking me.
Actually, no, Cliff. My bad.
Yeah.
I read Ant. Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't have one because I have I don't have a favorite genre at all. I can tell you my least favorite genre, which is Nightcore.
Yes, I have to agree with you.
Nightcore is I mean, if you make something from scratch, good for you. But 99% of Nightcore is I found this other thing that I liked and sped it up by 40%, and called it music. So I can't tell you my favorite, but that's definitely my least favorite.
There's no creativity at all in that. You can Nightcore every YouTube video.
Yeah.
You just click the 1.25 or whatever.
Well, sort of. I mean, because it also has Nightcore. Technically, it also affects the pitch a little bit, and the 1.25 things that doesn't affect the pitch on YouTube. But still, it's low effort at best.
Fair enough. Yeah. So okay.
How do you organize, plan, and prioritize your work?
Well, I can't really speak for the TFS stuff because that's usually kind of like done. I can usually get that done pretty quickly and all in one go. But when it comes to my own personal projects, I usually just have a calendar. It's a 5-week calendar. So I just mark down all the days of the week, and whenever I finish a video, I usually would complete a video. I usually just give it a tick. And it's always just about thinking, oh, do I have enough time to make like an impromptu video, like at the last minute? Like if I can do it really quickly, if I want to, or if I don't, then I go like, oh, okay, let's see what I need to do. Do I need to upload the content? Do I need to like plan it out? Because usually from start to finish, I can make a discussion video, stuff like that, in about like 6 hours, 4 hours if I'm really feeling frisky. But it's always just like thinking, well, what needs to be done? I always like set myself a target for the day, a bare minimum. Like today, you need to do at least this, and that. If you could do that, then okay, you've done something with your day. If you could do more, great. And usually I like to try and get most of my work done by about Wednesday afternoon. That means I've got like 2 days to play around with to either plan for the following week or to just like add to like stuff that's a bit more low priority. Just generally, if things require a lot of effort and need to be done fast, do that. And have a calendar. Calendars are always good.
I gotta start doing that.
Guilty.
Yeah.
And calendar that you can see on your wall.
Yeah, no,
not just one you can hide on your phone and just go like, I'm pretending I don't see that app.
Yeah, I tried those apps. It didn't last long.
See.
Okay.
Would you lose mostly everything to have a talking dog best friend?
What is mostly every? Yeah, I don't know.
I guess like everything you own. I'm guessing. Yeah.
Like.
No.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be realistic. Like
that's like a Satan question. You know what I mean? You'd answer yes. Next thing you know, you're blind. You're homeless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you got this talking Cerberus talking to you.
Yeah. Exactly. The finger curl of the monkey's paw, if you will.
I mean, okay with just getting those like boards that you see on TikTok. Like you just train the dog to like press the ball. Press the buttons with like say, "Mom, ball now, please."
Oh my god! Yeah,
that happens.
That's a good idea. My dog is super smart. I could do that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I recently got a doggo, and yeah, the way that she talks, you sort of get it. You get it anyway without really them needing to converse in English language.
Give my dog a soundboard.
Yeah, it's all about like pitch and like the authority when you're talking to like a dog. Like you could say anything, but as long as it's in like a certain register for them to kind of like it's they speak through feeling, I guess.
You're right.
Like like earlier in the day, like I wasn't in a really good mood, and my beardie, she just like usually when I'm in the garden, she usually bounds up and like throws a stick at me, like wanted to throw it. But then she just like hung back and just like was backed off a bit, like was like, "Hey, I'm here if you want to, pet with me or play with me, but I won't bug you too much." She's only 11 months old and she's already got it. It's like, yeah, they get it. Empathic almost.
Yeah, dogs are socially intelligent creatures.
Yes.
Yeah, my puppy was only like at the time like 6 weeks old, and I taught her how to sit and shake and everything in less than like a week. And I don't even do it with her anymore, but now I can book her right now and she'll still do it. It's just crazy.
What?
Sorry, never mind. I
wish I heard what you said. What
I said, truly wonderful the mind of a child is.
All right, cool. Cliff, what would you consider the most challenging aspect of composing music?
Being satisfied with it. It's
that was such a quick response.
Yeah,
that was the realest response.
Yeah, I think it's like any creative thing, because I mean, you could put something together and everybody could say, "Dude, this is awesome," and then you could be like, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel finished, and you will go on like that, forever if you don't just stop yourself and say, "Okay, look, if other people like it, chances are." You're probably just being overly critical of it. And ultimately, you have to be satisfied with it yourself for it to really make a difference. But you got to learn to temper your expectations like that. And not everything you write is going to be, the next, Shostakovich or the next Beethoven or the next Kanye or the next whoever. It's so you just got to, they can't all be gems. And, but the one just, Yeah, I'm rambling now, but you get what I'm saying. Don't push yourself too hard.
Yeah, that's actually a good response for almost anything you would do creatively, really, if you think about it. Well, just being satisfied with your finished project or whatever you do.
Well, the thing I noticed about all of you all is you're all hard workers and very passionate, which you can't make that.
Yeah,
that has to come naturally.
Very hard. Sorry.
Well, what I'm getting at is you can't make that. You have to have that inside of you, like that burning desire. You can't but you could always dial back. That's what's nice though. You got to have that passion. I can tell Ant, he's passionate, very passionate. That's why even with the little editing and stuff like that and the way he talks out, he's going 100 miles per hour. But it's as you get older, you start to learn to dial it back a little bit. Like he said, take that 15-minute break and stuff like that. But if you don't even have that energy to begin with, you have to get that inside you. Which also goes back to what he said is you got to find what you like and enjoy. Because that's when the passion comes out, and then learn to dial it back at times. So,
and it gets to that point where you just keep going at it, and then people notice. I got a call yesterday from somebody working who organizes concerts and they were just contacting. They just found my channel and was just hey, can you tell me about the viability, whether there are enough Dragon Ball fans in the UK to do this particular event we want to do? And I'm like, you're asking me. And I thought, me? And he's just but that's all about through patience and conviction in what you do. Because this is one of the earliest things we tell people, in if they want to do a bridging. This is something we would start saying for the really beginning. It's in general, you just feel what are you doing this for? Do you want to make this a bridge series with yourself or your friends because you want to have fun? Great. That's what you do. But a lot of people were riding off the coattails and were no, we want to be popular. Those series burn out quick. 4 episodes if you're lucky, and then maybe they just die out because they're not getting the traction that they want. So it's just about wanting to understand why you're doing this. So as long as you can do something you love, it's great. It becomes work, but you realize it's something that you feel passionate about and want to do more. And if you say, well, I don't have the time to do that, you can find the time. That 2 hours that you just veg out with Netflix in the middle or whatever streaming service you use in the evening, put it maybe half an hour at first to what you might want to do for a side hustle. Yeah. This whole COVID thing has been a blessing to say the gig market is viable.
Less of a blessing, but more of a silver lining.
It's a bittersweet.
It's an opportunity. An alternative opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. Because I've known friends that have been laid off, and they use things like Fiverr, and in America I know that they use things like Upwork. There is ways to think, well, okay, I now have if you have to work from home, I may have a little time that would have been used, in my car to get to work or getting public transportation, to then think, well, okay, how can I utilize my talents in a different way? The way that I would like to do. So that's how it usually starts. So it's just all about that.
All right.
Oh, I think we got all our questions answered, didn't we?
Right on.
There's a few more for me.
There's 3 more, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Can you explain how you might compose a new piece of work, Cliff?
Nope. I can't.
He just does it.
I just do it.
Yep.
I really can't. I grew up in a musical family. My mom and dad were both musicians. My sister's a musician, and I grew up with this stuff so long. It comes so naturally to me. I don't have a process. I kind of just do it until it sounds good.
So I got a
Sorry,
question.
I can't be more helpful.
What instruments do you all play?
I personally, right now it's mostly keyboard and piano, but in the past I've played oboe, bassoon, flute, Irish whistle, quena, and a few other things.
Oh wow,
cool! I did violin and then bass guitar. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I did keyboard and clarinet for a while.
Clarinet.
You not for long.
Single reed. You single reed.
I one day want to learn how to play the theremin.
I had a theremin at one point.
Theremin or saxophone.
Theremin looks really cool.
Theremin is so hard. I've tried it.
Really?
I used to have one. It wasn't a very good one, but it was it's very hard to do because you need to. It's all about your relative position.
Yes.
And if you're off by even a smidge, then it sounds terrible. And you have to learn it's not like a piano where if you play one, you can play them all. You have to learn that individual instrument.
Of course. No, I feel like I could do that. I'm very good with my hands and positions. Like whenever I'm listening to an inspiring music, I'm usually quite good at trying to feel the tempo and vibrato. And I just want to have when TFS we can all go back to conventions again. I'd like to be able to bring a theremin along and just have a panel. Masako plays the theremin for 30 minutes.
There you go.
I'm actually thinking of
break out, get the theremin on the panel table. Boom.
Yeah, I'm thinking of picking up the theremin again. Actually,
play the theremin as entry music.
Yeah,
it'll be great for spooky woo.
Yeah, maybe YomaCon, if it's Halloween again, we could just play that. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it a string instrument or a wind instrument? What
no,
is it?
it's a nothing. It's an electronic instrument that responds to responds to how close your hand is to this metal rod, and it makes
and puts it as an output.
Yeah, you should look it up on YouTube. It's hard
Science the music.
I don't even know what it was called. It was
the theremin.
I don't even know how to spell that.
THEREMIN.
Yeah, it's like science music and the whole meme. It all started when my mom met my dad. They fell in love, and then they had me.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a theremin. My life is kind of crazy.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
You do that when you're doing Masako, Kami, Hami, ha. Crazy. Start talking like Goku and doing stuff with it. That'd be nuts.
That'd be great.
That would be funny. I'd see that.
Let's see.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you guys were
no.
times. Okay, I'm sorry.
Describe a time when a musician or director disagreed with you, Cliff. All the time. Especially when I'm working with Scott or Kaiser Neko. I mean, we'll often go through 6, 7, 8 different iterations before we arrive at some piece of music we agree on. Sometimes it happens first time. It's rare, but it happens. But I mean, disagreement is part of the creative process. I mean, because who you're working with, they have a vision and it needs to fit that vision. And now sometimes I have been able to, change that vision because I'm like, look, I know you want it to be this way, but if I do it this way, this and this and this and this. And there are a few occasions where they've agreed with me on that. Most of the time, though, you ultimately have to bow to their wishes because, I mean, the boss isn't always right, but he's always the boss. You have to. You unfortunately are subject to their whims. And now, if you have a different hierarchy, that's a different story. If you're both, co-directors or co-creators, and you also happen to be doing the music, that's another story altogether. But for the most part, you just need to, give your best input. And if they still, just don't want to listen to you, you've be content in the knowledge that you've done all you could.
Yeah.
I think that was basically it. The last question is kind of I feel like it's more of a joke.
Brandon again.
I mean, I feel like this would be a good ending it on a joke question.
Would you trust a pile of flowers to save your free falling out the world?
No. If they're roses, hell no.
How many pounds?
It depends on the density and it depends on the type
buoyancy,
of flowers, the density, and the other environmental conditions that lead to them being nice and fluffy, as opposed.
Yeah, if it was like a 10-foot pile of tulips, then maybe.
Yeah, well, even 10 feet, they would have to be densely packed. Like if it's just something somebody threw into a pile, you'll fall right through them and kill yourself. If it's something that you've sort of compressed into more of a bed, like
vacuum
using
sealed.
a compact,
vacuum sealed tulips.
That's a little different. But don't ask me those kinds of questions because I will. Those are the kinds of questions that I just get carried away with. You ever watch Silicon Valley? Anybody watch Silicon Valley? It's like
no, I've honestly
well,
never heard
okay,
of it.
this is a little X-rated, so you can take it out if you want. But basically, there's a joke in that series where they're like, we're gonna win this even if I have to personally jerk off every guy in the audience. And they were like, yeah, that's a lot of jerking. And even if he's jerking 2 at a time, that's what, 400 times whatever the mean jerk time is. Well, unless he jerks off 4 at a time, so you got 2 guys standing on either side with their dicks tip to tip, so you're going full length. See? Right. So what we're trying to do hypothetically is minimize time, which is equal to 400 total jerks multiplied by mean jerk time divided by 4 dicks at a time. Of course, he would have to pre-sort guys by height so that their dicks lined up and everything. and it's such an amazing show. But that's exactly the
kindness or quantification.
Yeah, it's exactly the kind of thing that I just get carried away with. Stupid hypotheticals that have no bearing
it's
on.
all good.
Yeah.
I'm fucking crying. Oh my god.
I like hearing that from people. To me, like a lot of people don't, or I shouldn't say a lot, but some people don't. But to me, it's like it blows my mind when I hear it. It's like, yeah, I like that. I like that. It's something
you wouldn't think about it, right? Like it's kind of like a throwaway question. You get a throwaway answer as opposed to like a throwaway answer.
Throwaway questions like that, I will think about them for hours. And that clip is readily available on YouTube. Just look up Silicon Valley dick algorithm.
Oh my god. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Make sure you delete your history after kids.
All right.
Go on. You didn't hear it from us. No, it's all good, man. So yeah, I guess that probably wraps it up then. Unless you got any other quick things to say, anyone? Or I guess, did we put your guys'